U.S. government shutdown enters day 4, amid budget standoff. The United States federal government shutdown, now in its 4th day as of October 4, 2025, has plunged the nation into economic uncertainty, with furloughs affecting hundreds of thousands of federal employees and halting non-essential services across agencies. Triggered by a failure to pass a continuing resolution for fiscal year 2026 funding, the impasse pits Republicans, who passed a short-term bill extending operations until November 21st, against Democrats demanding the restoration of non-citizen eligibility for Medicaid and other concessions. President Donald Trump's administration, including Vice President JD Vance, has warned of potential layoffs, while the White House blames Democratic obstructionism for the lapse that began at midnight on October 1st. Key impacts include delayed economic data releases, such as the September nonfarm payrolls report, complicating Federal Reserve decisions and exacerbating market volatility. As the shutdown drags on, essential services like Social Security payments, military operations, and air traffic control remain operational, but contingency plans reveal stark limitations. The IRS can retain staff for only 5 days using prior funds. National parks face closures, despite using last year's budgets for limited access, and programs like SNAP and WICE continue through October thanks to pre-committed allocations. Over 200,000 military personnel risk missing their October 15th paycheck without swift resolution, prompting bipartisan concerns over national security and troop morale. The Department of Education has faced backlash for altering furloughed employees' out-of-office messages to blame Democrats, a move deemed a potential Hatch Act violation. Meanwhile, the Smithsonian Museums and National Zoo plan to stay open until October 11th using reserves, but animal cams and broader research halt, underscoring the shutdown's ripple effects on public access and science. Economic fallout intensifies as the impasse delays USDA loan disbursements and curtails SEC and CFTC oversight, with only 9% and 6% of staff retained, respectively, raising fears of unchecked market risks. Analysts warn of a potential GDP hit of 0.2% per week of shutdown, echoing the 2018-2019 impasse that cost $11 billion. Trump's use of rescissions to claw back $9 billion in foreign aid and public broadcasting funds has further eroded Democratic trust, with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer decrying it as a tactic to undermine negotiations. House Speaker Mike Johnson's decision to extend recess until next week delays progress, while President Trump leverages the crisis to advance Project 2025 goals, distancing himself from prior denials of affiliation. Public and political pressure mounts, with protests at the Capitol and calls from veterans groups for prioritized VA funding extensions. The shutdown's timing, amid Trump's tariff escalations and global trade tensions, amplifies investor anxiety, driving safe haven assets like gold to records. Immigration remains a flashpoint. A proposed bill could strip coverage from 1.4 million immigrants, per KFF analysis, while Democrats push to revert to pre-2025 eligibility rules. As Senate votes falter, requiring 60 votes to overcome filibusters, bipartisan talks on the floor hint at shortening the Republican CR to buy negotiation time, but optimism wanes with no breakthrough in sight. Looking ahead, the shutdown risks spilling into mid-October, potentially derailing holiday travel and wedding seasons reliant on federal venues. Trump's administration eyes billions in cuts via the impasse, while Democrats frame it as Republican extremism. With furloughed workers facing financial hardship and essential furloughs like CDC staff vulnerable to agency overhauls under RFK Jr., the crisis tests America's resilience. Resolution hinges on compromise, but as VP Vance's layoff threats echo, the path to averting deeper chaos remains elusive, leaving millions in limbo.